What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino, guys, and we're back here on Tino's Time for episode 2, part 2 of the triple header today. We were here earlier with my man Leo talking some Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing. So definitely go check that episode out. But for episode number 2, it's Thursday, and you guys know what that means. We're here for another episode of the SouthSide Boys, kinda. Except the two SouthSide boys that are usually here with me, one is in Cancun and one is busy on a work trip. So it's just your boy Tino here for the SouthSide boys. But I'm not going to be here alone this week today, guys, because I found some reinforcements. And if they do better than Deech and J-Man, maybe we got to make some replacements. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week back here on the SouthSide boys. But this week, guys, we have a very special guest, a first-time guest here on Tino's Time. Known this man my whole life. He's been there. We went to games together, spent a lot of time, watched a bunch of games together. And I know he's got a lot to say about this team. After having a great week at 5-2, the best week that we've had in Chicago White Sox baseball this year, sadly, we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about, but we also have a lot of bad stuff to talk about too. So let's not waste any more time, guys, and let's welcome our guest here to Tino's Time. He's the two-time champ in our fantasy football league. He runs it. It doesn't matter who he drafts. Last year, he didn't even draft his team, and he still took his team all the way to the championship. So, guys, let's welcome. It says a YouTube channel, but it's Dream Team. What's up, Tom? How you doing?
How you doing, Tino? How you doing? That's right. 2 years in a row, I won. And last year, I didn't even think about taking a team, and I still won.
He said, man, I think we may need you to manage the White Sox at this point then, because, you know, it has not been a very fun season. It's kind of funny that my two co-hosts, usually they're on the show. We've not had a very fun episodes lately, and this actually probably would have been the best episode because the past week has been, like I said, best week. They went 5-2. They swept the Royals. They won 2 out of 3 against the Guardians. They went from being 9.5 games out of first place to now being 5.5. And obviously still being 9 games under 500 is not good. But we are here, and thank God we play in the AL Central because the AL Central is awful. So we got a lot to talk about here today. But before we do, I want to get your thoughts. How are you feeling? Obviously, April wasn't the best, but we've had some May flowers. Robert's been doing good and everything. So, Tom, how are you feeling about the White Sox after this past week and in general?
Well, I think if Kopech keeps pitching like he's been pitching, I think they could actually make it to the playoffs and maybe even farther. Because he a stud. I mean, 3 hits in 2 games. It's ridiculous. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he looked like he needed to go back to the minors.
And it's crazy to think how fast that could happen with a pitcher, to see them go from that. And it's funny that you mentioned that right away, because that was actually my bold prediction last week. Is I said Michael Kopech, he was 1-4 at the time, and he pitched last week on Friday. I said by the time we come on here next week, he's 3-4, and the Sox are doing a little better. So that's exactly what happened. Michael Kopech, he's showing what the Sox wanted when they got him in the Chris Sale trade with Yohan Moncada and everything like that. So Michael Kopech and the pitching, I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning with Chuck and Ryan McGuffey, and the Sox have the 3rd best pitching rotation since they went on that awful run and since that walk-off by Andrew Vaughn. So the pitching has been very good.
That's only 3. That's only what, 3 weeks?
What
you're basing that off of?
What, the May or the April?
I mean, it's as bad as the first 4 weeks, where they're probably the worst pitching staff in the major league.
So that's been since the walk-off game and since they won the series versus the Twins. That's what I'm kind of basing it off of, because that's kind of when it seems like they kind of got it going, because the pitching has not been very good. But the one thing that has been very good, and before we do talk about everything else, I've been very impressed by the bullpen, because there's a lot of guys, and obviously we haven't had Crochet. Liam Hendricks has been out for, obviously, he beat cancer. He kicked cancer's ass. He'll obviously be back soon. But we've had guys like Gregory Santos, Keenan Middleton. Shout out to Middleton. He's been hooking up with our guy Deech and stuff. We might be having him on the show soon. But
no, I think it got better once they sent, what's his name, Diaz? Or what was that guy's name?
Oh, Diekman?
No, not Diekman. The guy who used to be a catcher. And then
Ruiz. Oh,
Yeah.
Jose. Yeah. Did you see him giving up a triple, clearing the bases yesterday for the Diamondbacks? Somebody shared
Yeah.
it on Twitter. I'm like, that's fantastic.
That's why I say once they got rid of that bum, they should have never made him a pitcher. They should have kept him at catcher.
Well, and that's the biggest thing where it's like that's been the one thing I will say with how bad it's been is they have at least if something isn't going right, like they sent Colas down. Colas has been getting
Yeah.
at bats.
That was all
Deepin,
different from old sleeping Tony,
uh,
sleeping on the
well,
bench, doesn't know what he's doing.
well,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
we'll just keep going and keep going and keep going with this guy until he kills us.
Well, exactly. And that's the biggest thing where it's like they said that too on the podcast where it's like, yes, people haven't been very impressed with Pedro, but it's definitely better than what Tony would have done. And Ryan made a good point on that podcast. He said that, Tony brought the rebuild back a couple of years and he kind of like destroyed everything that they had with Ricky and everything like that.
Dude, a
So
blind monkey could have did it better than Tony.
I mean, Rocco could have done it better than Tony. Let's be real here.
Anybody could have done better
I
than
mean,
Tony.
come on.
I would have rather had Ricky back, and
He's
that's
and it's
that
funny
hurts
because
for me to
it's
say
fun-
that.
it's funny that you say that because it's that you're not the first person that I've heard say that. So it's funny that you do say that.
Give
So
Robin Ventura back.
oh God, funny. Well, at least we don't have to worry about any of that. But the past week of the White Sox baseball, like I said, they went 5-2. They swept the Royals as they should have, and now them losing 3 out of 4 to them a few weeks ago kind of hurts because it's like if they could have just won
Yeah,
one or
that was just ridiculous. Losing 3 out of 4 to the Kansas City Royals. It was like they made them look like the world champions. It was just ugly and horrible to even watch.
And that was the thing. It's like we've talked about it a lot here on this on the show. Deech, J-Man, and I like the Sox always play up to the of the opponents of how the opponents play. It's always like we play the Astros, we're playing decent baseball, but we go and play the Royals or these teams. It's like they always play like crap, and it's like you need to do what they did last weekend. And it's like it's kind of gotten to the point where they need to keep doing it. They need to get a couple more sweeps. They need to continue to win 2 out of 3. And I feel like with the series that we're going to be talking about in a little bit with the Tigers and the Angels, it's very important for them to continue these stretches of wins and keep winning series because them being 9 games under, yes, we're 5.5 out, but all it takes is one bad week again and we're sitting here sad again. So we just need to keep doing what they're doing because
they're playing against the Detroit Tigers, a team that coach should have been a White Sox manager. Instead, they chose Tony over him. Don't get me wrong, this guy's not doing any better than Tony is, but at least he's coherent.
Well, exactly. That it just, and that's the thing. It's like when you look in the dugout, the difference of of what it is so different between them where it's like it just makes me so mad. I just don't even want to think about it. This team just gives me so many emotions. It's so much fun. But the White Sox now, as I said, they're sitting 21-29. The game actually starts in 30 minutes. So this episode is going to be a little short, and we're going to skip a few things unlike we usually do. But let's get right to it, and let's not waste any more time. And let's talk about this Tiger series because we have heard some rumors that, that we could possibly see not Eloy, because Eloy actually just went on a rehab assignment to Double-A. So he actually might not be back until next Friday when they go back and I think they actually go back and face the Tigers again next weekend in Comiskey.
Well, he had an appendectomy. I think that he's not going to mess with his swing with the hips and his stomach. That's usually where they cut him open.
Yeah, so they said that's why they want him to go to Double-A is because he's going to be playing a little bit of right field to try to make sure that he can still run and make sure it doesn't affect him because as you said, like the stomach and everything. So he might be in there they might even give him a little bit more longer of a time in Double-A and Triple-A. So hopefully they don't rush him back. But if everybody could just stay healthy for a little bit of period of time, it would be really nice to see these guys play together. Because I don't know if you saw this, but did you see that stat that they said that since 2020, they've only played 11% of games together?
It's so funny. They bring all these guys up, and they're phenomenal guys they bring up that they got in all these great trades. They did what they were supposed to do, but these guys are just dying, in the dugout. It's like I run, I am out in the outfield. Oh, I hit the fence, I'm out for a month. Oh, I hurt my knee, I'm out for a month. It's just, and it's all of them. It's not just one guy. It's everybody else. But it's not guys that they picked up from other teams. It's the team that they drafted. It's like they drafted from a hospital ward.
They literally, it's
it,
like all these guys got the voodoo doll on them because
it,
it's really sad. But the one guy I did hear that possibly could be making his return, and I don't know if he is this weekend. They might just wait till the Angels series because they are coming back home and everything. But
well, they're
we
not
could
going to
possibly,
rush him in.
I've heard possibly having Liam back soon, like this weekend or possibly Monday. So getting Liam Hendricks back is a big thing because obviously Joe Kelly's been great. And you actually said before we got on recording about how you don't like Joe Kelly so much. So I want to hear the reason why. But if we do see Liam Hendricks come back, I think it will be a big boost to the bullpen. Get some morale, feel some better. The fact that he even has the ability to come back this fast is even just incredible and crazy after everything that he just beat. So just wanted to mention that, but I want to hear.
I have my issues with Liam as well.
The fastballs right down the middle.
Well, no, the 7 blown saves that he had last year.
I mean, 7 isn't as bad as some of these closers have had
for $52 million over 3 years.
I mean, I agree with you on that too. So what's your issue with Kelly and Liam then, other than the 7 blown saves? Is it just like,
you know what? Kelly is out of sort. He's like, I can't pinpoint the way he works, but there's a reason why the Dodgers got rid of him. Same reason why the Dodgers got rid of Yasmani, and he's gone from team to team to team. They're not a great establishment, the Dodgers that they are, for keeping bums around. As soon as they see it, they get rid of them. Well, and that's exactly what they did with
you could say the same thing too about Trey Turner, because look at what they got rid of Trey Turner, and he's really not been doing much on the Phillies.
I think the Trey Turner, they wanted to sign him back, but I think it was the money issue. I mean, don't get me wrong, they got money, just buried all over Dodger Stadium that they could just pick flowers and it turns into money. But I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was why they got rid of Turner. But to be honest with you, I would have did a straight up trade, taking Turner and giving them Anderson.
Oh, now you want to trade TA? Whoa!
I said if they would have traded, give us Turner, and they took Anderson, I would have did it in a minute. Because I heard rumors about him in the dugouts, in the clubhouse. That's a lot of the stuff. They had a conversation with him before he came back off the IR. So I think that was part of it too, and I think that's one of the reasons why Abreu didn't mind leaving either.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because even like when Dallas was on the team, did you ever hear that rumor about the cliques and everything like that? Apparently how there's like cliques in the locker room and everything like that. And it's just one of those things. If that's the case, it's like, then that's not like a team. And it's like,
you know what? It wasn't a coincidence that they brought what's his name back to be his little play buddy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What's his name? The guy who could run but he can't hit.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason why they brought him back, to keep Anderson in line.
Well, and I think the biggest thing like with that too is it's like we've talked about it. White Sox fans all over the world, Deech, J-Man, every White Sox fan on Twitter. I'm sure you've talked to everybody about it. The Sox have needed a second baseman and a right fielder for how long, and they didn't go out there. They went out and got Benintendi, and I think Benintendi obviously hasn't a home run and everything like that, but still sneakily, he's making good plays. He's doing what Eloy couldn't do, and he's doing what he could. And obviously, maybe we shouldn't have given him that much money, and it is what it is. But sometimes you got to overpay for these guys, and at least they went out. But
the White Sox haven't overpaid for anybody ever. I take that back, except for Yasmani. They overpaid for.
He said except for Yasmani.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing where it just like they always seem to do this, and it's like somebody said it where it's like the guys they sign in the offseason don't seem to work out. But then the last week they call up Clint Frazier, the guy that was drafted by the Guardians. He was on the Yankees. he was in AAA. He wasn't doing anything. And he comes up and he scores a couple runs. He steals a couple bases. He gets a couple base hits. And it's like, is it the Brian Goodwin effect? Is it we are only
or what's his name? Andrews from last year. When they brought him up from minor leagues and he was a star.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's saying get rid of Anderson and keep him at short. But now you're seeing how he's really playing this year.
Well, and he's on the IL too. So he's another one that we could possibly be seeing back soon too. But then again, it's like can these guys just all stay healthy at one time and play a little?
Don't get me started about second basemen. I think they got rid of the best second baseman that they've had in a long time.
Which what, Madrigal or
yes,
Mendez?
Madrigal.
Well, Madrigal, he's playing third base on the Cubs now. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know.
Yeah, I did.
Northsider games, but that's
because they need him. They need his bit in there.
Well, yeah,
that's my opinion on that. But you know, when you have the magic like the Sox had in 20 with Madrigal and all the other young guys and everybody's doing, then you get rid of one of the pieces to the puzzle, and you know it kind of affects everybody.
Well, and
I think that's what I think that was part of it.
Well, and that is a very good point that you bring up there, is because they traded Madrigal for Craig Kimbrell, which don't make sense in any which way. And Deech actually just texted me.
I bet you any amount of money that had Kenny Williams' hands all over it, because he's notorious for bringing in old dirty dirt guys who shouldn't be in the league anymore. And that's exactly what he did. Oh, he was great 10 years ago. Let's get him.
Well, just like Andrews. I was looking at something for Andrews, and it showed up that he made the All-Star team in 2010 and 2012. And I'm like, it's 2023. I'm like, great. Yeah. And that's a perfect example there. So Deech actually
just trying to get the genie out of the bottle.
What you gotta love it. Deech just texted me and said the Cubs actually just optioned Madrigal to AAA. So that's where he's at now. So,
but again, that may be the case, and he may not be playing there, and they're just getting him down there for to get his swing back or something like that. Who knows why they sent him down? I mean, the what's name, old Jed Hoyer's isn't the greatest manager in the world. He was Epstein's on his what was that word I'm looking for? He was this on Epstein's coattails, you know, and then Epstein quit. They figure out that maybe he'll again find magic in a bottle with him. They did. He's no better than whoever they had before. And now they had Epstein before, but you know he was riding his coattails, and just because he put down Madrigal doesn't mean it's, you know, you take him. He's a second baseman. He was a top, I think, what was he, number 8 draft by the Sox? Top 10?
Yeah.
And he came as a second baseman. You throw him at third. That's the same thing with Makata. He was a third baseman. They put him at second.
Yeah. And then they put him back at third.
And he doesn't feel comfortable playing that position, and then it affects his hitting.
Exactly. And that, you know, that we're just gonna have to see. So we've talked a lot about past and everything like that, but let's get into the next 2 series, because as I said, the White Sox play they play a 4-game series against the Tigers starting today at 5:40 in 20 minutes actually. And tonight's matchup, we got Lucas Giolito taking on Alex.
And he's been pitching really good.
Yeah. He has been the best pitcher in the MLB. Remember that commercial they had for so bad. Alex is 0-2 with a 4.60 ERA. Giolito is 3-3. Tomorrow's matchup is Mr. Lance Lynn, that has been pitching better the last 2 starts. I'll give it to him. He's 3-5 with the 6.28 ERA. But last time I looked at that was at like 7-something. So at least it's going.
He had a bad game last time. Didn't he get shelled his last outing?
I think he put pretty good the last game.
Or I'm sorry, it was the one before that. You're right.
Yeah, I think it was, because I know he's pitched decently well, like 2 out of 3 of the last starts.
Yeah, he only gave up, I think, 2 earned runs his last game. He did pitch well.
So, but tomorrow they're going up against Joey Wentz, who's 1-4 at the 7.45 ERA. On Saturday, we got Jimmy Lambert. It looks like Mike Clevenger will miss another start. And it looks like it will probably be another opener type of situation. But I think Jimmy Lambert could pitch 2 or 3 innings. He was a starter at one point. He's 2-1. And we're taking on Michael Lorenzo. He's 2-2 with a 4.08 ERA. And then finally, the last matchup on Sunday, it's Dylan Cease taking on our Eduardo Rodriguez, 4-4 with a 2.19 ERA. So, Tommy, how we usually
They
do
have
this?
anybody above 500 on that team? What happened to that? What's his name? Miles or what's his name? Mize?
Oh, he's hurt. They're all hurt. Everybody's hurt, just like the Guardians. McKenzie's hurt. Savali's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Yeah, they don't have anybody over. Yeah. So going into this series, they started, like I said, in 20 minutes. What do you think the White Sox do this weekend? What do you think they on Sunday after the game? What do you think we're walking out with?
I think they can. I think they take 3 out of 4 with Kopech pitching and Cease pitching. I think that
Cease. Do you think that there's something wrong with Cease, or do you think Cease is just like kind of like?
No, he seems to be like that in the beginning of the year. He was like that the last year too, if I remember right. And then he just kicked it into gear.
Yeah. I just want to mention that because that's been the one thing like about Cease. It's like everybody's like it's Cease day, it's Cease and destroy, and it's like as soon as everybody does that, it's like he goes out there and does like not that great. So
you got to remember last year he was what their third, number 3 or number 4 pitcher. Now he's their number 1. So maybe that's getting to him too.
And that's the big thing we haven't really talked about too much is it's like everybody, like me and Deech talk about it all the time and stuff on here. Everybody wants to go and do another rebuild, but they don't have anything in AAA or AA to bring up and pitch. And if they trade Cease and if they trade all these guys, who the hell are you bringing up pitching? So
yeah, but when they made that trade with Cease, who else did they get in that trade with?
They got Eloy, and then they got some other guy that never.
Yeah, but they made that trade to get Eloy. They didn't make that trade to get Cease.
I know. It's funny because Cease was actually thrown in there. And it's funny because the MLB pipeline, when it happened, they didn't understand why the Cubs threw in Cease too. They thought it should have just been Quintana for Eloy.
But that's saying that so the Sox could have a guy down there that may not be great or whatever, but he could be another Cease, and you bring them up and they just flourish when they come into the major leagues, or either they flourish or they just suck.
Exactly.
So,
but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
You never know because Jimmy Lambert was geared to be a number 1 coming up, and he can't seem to stay in the major leagues either.
Well, yeah, and it seems like he's found himself a spot in the bullpen, though. I will give him that.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing that happened to
Ronaldo.
Who? No,
Ronaldo?
Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez.
Yeah, when they got him and what's his name together, when they got Giolito and him, they were both supposed to be starting studs, and Lopez isn't a starter.
Who was the other guy we got? Wasn't there a third pitch? Oh, Dane Dunning. That's right. And then they traded him for Lance.
Yeah, but Dane Dunning, he was. Yeah, they traded him to Texas.
Yeah. Did you see what I think he has like a 2 or 3 point ERA or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course he does.
Like, yeah, he was another one that they should have kept around. Instead, they traded him. They traded him for
Lynn. It was Lynn. It was literally Lynn for
and I back then I thought that was a bad trade, but they were doing it just to get somebody who's been in the league for a while and they could at least have a decent record and beat us. But every time he seemed to play against the Sox usually ended up rocking them.
Yep. So
that must have been that had to be a Kenny Williams.
It's all about it's all the dumb moves, and it's funny because you can tell which moves are Rick and what moves are Kenny. Like you could already because you know that Andrew's coming back for $7 or however or $3 or $4 million, whatever the hell he came back. That's what it is. And as we talk about it, Kenny's just wanting to find the lightning in the bottle, and he always wants to find these guys that he can fix.
He wants to find the old lightning.
Yeah. And it's just like we just
always hey, let's get Ken Griffey Jr. when he's 40 years old and he doesn't want to play, he just wants to get a paycheck.
Kevin Youkilis, we could talk about who else we there's so many guys they've had. I just too many of them. But I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Sox they should take 2 out of 3 if they They want to keep doing this. They got to take 2 out of 3. And I think a sweep is in a possibility. I think it's very hard to sweep a 4-game series. It really is. But I think it is a possibility. I've seen them do it before against the Tigers, so it is a possibility. And as you said, we have a few guys that are pitching this week. They've pitched good against the Tigers.
It's hard. It's hard to sweep in the major leagues, but
yes,
they're on it. They got a 2-game winning streak. If they can take the first 2, and then go and have the cease in the 3rd game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be a good thing just to see. They got 4 in a row, and they got cease pitching the 5th game to make it hopefully 5 in a row.
Yeah, it's Sunday he's pitching. Lambert's pitching Saturday. But I mean, either way, I think that they should, and they just keep racking up wins. And me and Deech said it last week. It's the new slogan here on Tino's time, the Southside boys. Just win. Just win. That's all we got to do. So after they go and they face the Tigers, we got to go and we go back home to Guaranteed Rate Field, Comiskey Park, whatever you want to call it, U.S. Cellular, et cetera, et cetera. They go and we taking on the Los Angeles Angels. And the Angels do not have Shohei Ohtani, so he will not be pitching in that series. So that's kind of a little bit of a relief because
is he playing though?
I think he might be on the IL. I think I don't know.
Is Trout on there too?
Trout's fine. Yeah, Trout's fine.
What's that? He's fine.
Yeah, Trout's fine. So I think that there because I don't see Shohei on the injured list. I haven't really been able to keep up with the Angels too much, obviously because they play in a different time zone and everything. But I think Shohei will probably bat unless if you're watching, let me know if there's anything. Because Deech was the one that actually told me that Shohei wasn't pitching. I thought he would be. But looks like we're going to miss Shohei, so that's a good thing because I don't want to he scares me. We don't have to so we don't have to face him pitching, but he is going to be batting. Okay. So he's fine. He's just not pitching this week. But
probably not the rotation.
Will be pitching on Monday. Michael Kopech is pitching on Monday, so that's when he'll pitch again.
Oh, okay. I thought he's not pitching this weekend then. How?
No.
Who's pitching? So who is it? Lynn, Giolito, and Cease?
Cease, and then Lambert.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, Monday, there will be Michael Kopech. He's 3-4 now. Give myself a shout out. Last week, my prediction, Michael Kopech was going to be 3-4, and that's what he is. So, that's good. He's going to go.
That's a real stretch.
I mean, it was worth a shot. They're going to be taking on Jamie Barria. He is 1-1 with the 1.61 ERA. Wonderful. Oh. We got on Tuesday, it's Lucas Giolito again, taking on Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning is a guy I feel like has been in the league forever. He's 3-2 with a 4.95 ERA. And then Wednesday, we got Tyler Anderson taking on Lance Lynn. Tyler Anderson is 2-0 with a 4.48 ERA. And then finally, next Thursday, when we'll be back here, hopefully the Southside boys back together. It's Thursday, but it's an off day. So how do you feel going in and after I just read the pitching matchups? What do you think that we do versus the Angels after leaving Detroit?
Well, they're playing at home, and it's supposed to be really warm next week, so the ball is going to be carrying.
Hopefully.
It's supposed to be like 80 and 90 degrees next week.
Hey, I'm all about it here in Chicago. Hey.
Yeah, but that means the ball's carrying, and if Trout's in and Ohtani's in, that ball might be carrying a lot right out of the park.
Hopefully not over the park.
Well, yeah, but that's what happens when it gets hot. The ball carries.
I know. But if they could just be semi-consistent, and if they could have guys like Romy and keep doing what he's doing.
Giolito and Lynn. You said Lynn's pitching?
Yeah, Lynn's pitching Wednesday, and then Kopech's pitching Monday, and then
Giolito's pitching Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Giolito and Lynn tendency to lead the ball up high. And the ball seems to go very, very far when they do that.
He said they go very, very far. So what are you feeling? 1 out of 3?
I don't know. Maybe the Sox could get their bats alive too.
That's the hope is if they could, like I said, if Romy, Berger, Sheets, Hazley, all these guys can continue, and if Anderson can start hitting the ball, if Moncada can start hitting, Robert's been on a tear. I think Robert's been like the best player in baseball this month. So
maybe he'll get player of the month.
He's very well up there. He very well might be. And shit, Joe, I know you don't like Joe Kelly, but he very well might win pitcher of the year at this point, or pitcher of the month at this point, because the way he's been pitching is incredible. And as long as you keep that going until Liam comes back, don't matter how much you don't like him. Just go out there and do your job.
Well,
right?
it seems like he gets hurt a lot, and that's the reason why he can't pitch when
Don't
he
we
gets
all
hurt.
get hurt on a daily basis?
Well,
at this
I'm
point?
just saying he's notorious for it, is what I'm getting at. You know,
yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. So what's your final decision on this series?
I'm gonna say what's the Angels' record?
They are 28-23.
Yeah, I think the Sox got a good series in for them. I'm hoping they could take 2 out of 3, but I'm not feeling it.
Not too confident in it.
No.
That's kind of
only thing I could think of that they might be able to take 2 or 3 because they're at home.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like that,
and they got Kopech pitching.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the big thing. It's like this Tiger series is like they just need to do their job, and then that's why if they do lose 2 out of 3 against like the Angels, it won't be so bad. And yes, it sucks, and yes, every loss like hurts. But again, we're in the AL Central. So, I mean, if as long as they could just beat up on the division and keep doing that versus the division, they'll be okay. And we're still in June. Like this season has felt like 7 months. I don't know about anybody else or any other White Sox fans, but this season has felt very, very long. And it's literally only the beginning of June almost. So there's still a lot of time. And the fact the White Sox are 5.5 out sitting here on getting ready for Labor Day weekend is crazy. As bad as
but you know what? I just don't want them to start winning and getting close to 500 and then doing the same crap they did last year. I'm up over 500 by 1. Oh, I'm down by 1, up by 2, down by 2. Yo-yo all year long. It's all they've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. Is
and that's
50-50 crap.
I know, and that's the problem too. Is it's like even like as good as they've been playing, they still are 9 games under 500. So it's not like that, So they still have a lot of work to do, and that's why it's like they need to get to that point where if they could just get to 500 and just make a little bit and obviously it's hard to get there and everything like that, but you just got to keep winning series. Winning 2 out of 3, winning 3 out of 4, winning whatever, and especially versus the division matchups. They still have to play the Tigers 13 times. We don't see the Twins, I don't think, until July. We still haven't seen other teams like the Rockies. We haven't seen the A's. We haven't seen, there's other teams that they still have to play. They got to, so there's a lot to see. Look at the Cardinals. I talk about this all the time. Cardinals, no matter who they are, where they are, who's on their team, they always find a way, no matter how bad they start, to be back into the race. And look at them now. They're in second place from being in last place like 2 weeks ago. So all it takes, and I said it last week, all it takes is another good week, and we could be sitting here next week. And if Tom ever wants to come back, Dream Team ever wants to come back and hang out with the 4 of us, or the 3 of us, make it a whole panel. Hopefully we're sitting here 2 games out, and that, and then you never know. Because that's how bad this division is, and that's how nobody's going to run away with it. And in reality, this division could be won with a team under 500. So
big deal. What's that going to do?
I mean,
is this a quick exit from the playoffs?
Listen, you just get there, and you never know what happens. Look at the Phillies last year. Look at the Cardinals a few years ago.
But they weren't under 500.
They were. You don't remember the Phillies being 19-32 in 2019?
No, I'm talking about the end of the season. What was the record at the end of the season?
Oh, I think they were a little over 500. I'm just saying. Yeah. Listen, we just got to get there. I'm trying to take it 1 week at a time. It's been a long season so far. So I'm going to agree with you. I think they can take 2 out of 3, but I feel like more would be 1 out of 3. And if they do take 2 out of 3, I'll be a happy guy coming back here next Thursday. But the Detroit series is the important one. Yeah. They need to do their job in this and do their thing. So the game actually starts in 5 minutes. So Tom, Dream Team, I want to say thank you so much for coming here, taking over for J-Man and Deech today. Before we go,
that 40 minutes went by real quick, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it does when you're on here talking. It's fun. It goes by fast, and then you go and watch some baseball. So, yeah. So
Well,
game starts in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Before we go, if you want to tell the people anything, go ahead. This is your time to shine.
yeah, keep a lookout for Dream Team for 3 in a row.
Oh my
And go
God. Here we
Sox.
go. I'm gonna start working on that merchandise, and then we got to get you the Roman Reigns title belts.
Yeah, I could beat all you guys in my sleep.
There we go. Well, before we go, I'm gonna go through the chat real quick, see what everybody is saying. We got Deech in the house. Deech is in Cancun, and he takes a little bit of time to support the Southside boys. Thank you, Deech. What's up, Joe? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. We got Vince McMahon in the house. What's up, Vince? Funny as hell. He says, "What's up, Deech?" The guy said the Black Sox. Funny as hell. Sometimes these things don't make any sense. The Cardinals defeated the Reds. I guess they should defeat the Reds, right? Next week, yes. Next week is June 1st. It's kind of sad. June 1st is already next week.
Yeah, Mike, St. Louis, the Cardinals are my favorite National League team.
They are your favorite National League team? Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
because any team that beats the Cubs on a regular basis is my favorite team.
Exactly. Just like the Pirates. The Pirates are another team. The Pirates were that team that did really good. And then all of a sudden they're one game over 500. Remember when they were sitting like 16-11 and they were winning this NL Central? It's a long season. We're still we're 51 games into the season. We still got 100 left. So it's going to be a long road. But that's all for the chat. So guys, we'll be back here. This was only part 2. We got another episode today. We'll be back here at 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time for Night of Champions 2015. Come and hang out as we go back 7 years and we watch Night of Champions as we get ready for Night of Champions Battleground and AEW Double or Nothing Week. Remember, guys, to go follow all the social medias on SoundCloud and Spotify. Tino's Time Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Tino's Gaming 2023 on Twitch. The Southside Boys 23. Go follow all those social medias, guys. Finally, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe on the road to 2K, everybody. I do appreciate all you guys for the support. Become a member if you want to. Go check out all the tiers. We got 3 tiers. Go check it out. We'll be doing membership-only live streams very soon, so make sure to go check out all that fun stuff. Make sure to also check out for all the merchandise coming in June. Can't wait for that. But, guys, turn that notification button on so you know when we go live next, which will be in 3 short hours for Night of Champions 2015 Retro Pay-Per-View. So, guys, go get some dinner. Enjoy your Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and I'll see you guys back here on Tino's Time in about 2.5 short hours for Night of Champions 2015.